Before I knew I was gender fluid, I just thought I didn't fit in. I'd look at other people and wondered why everything just seemed to click for them. And honestly, I thought it was normal to want to be able to switch your gender sometimes. And I liked girly things. Sometimes I was interested in the boy stuff, but a lot of the time I was like, I like this, like My Little Pony or something that the girls were interested in. So I just figured that everyone felt that way, but when I learned that wasn't the case, and I got severely bullied in middle school for being myself, I locked myself away, and I tried to forget about those feelings, and I did. And because of that, I became a worse version of myself back in 2022. And I became very hateful and very salty. And I believe this is the first step of being an egg: hate. I began hating people who were expressing themselves, because whenever I tried to express myself, I got shut down for it. So I became just overall very jealous of those people who were able to express themselves. I felt like if I can't be happy, why should they be happy? Which is just the wrong way to look at it. About a year after this stage came the gray area. I just call this area the egg. This is where I was way less hateful. I left my old friend group for one that actually cared about me. And at this point, I was just still an egg, but I felt like I somehow fit into the more LGBTQ space that were more freeing. I was still learning who I was and how to be kind, and because of that, I made mistakes. And those mistakes eventually led me to lose that friend group, and that privilege to have friend groups like that. But I was still wondering why I felt better in those areas. And after finding a new friend group, which is that friend group I'm still with today, which is another LGBTQ friend group, something happened. The first day I met one of the people, they asked if I was trans. And because I had long pink and purple hair, I guess it kind of made sense why they asked me, but I call this stage the denial stage. I completely denied being trans or even anything closely related to it, because I thought if I was trans or if I was gender fluid or if I was any of the above, I would be a hypocrite. And I couldn't help but wonder, what if I am? Or what if I am something? Because I've never really aligned with that gender of just being a boy. So I started mass researching. I was looking at trans videos, I was looking at gender fluid videos, non-binary videos, agender videos, all of the above. And what I realized is I related to them a lot. And that realization leads me to stage 4, realization. This is where I realized I was probably under the trans umbrella, which made me panic. The way I described it in 2024 in a text message was, and I quote, "I don't care or mind if people misgender me. Sometimes I actually sort of like it. It's such a coin flip, which is why I don't understand why some days I feel more feminine than masculine, and vice versa." The person who was I said this to was actually gender fluid themselves, and they told me that's exactly how I feel. And in that moment, it clicked. I realized I too was gender fluid. And I then did a lot of research on gender fluidity, what it was, what it is, why it happens, etc. Just mass researching again. And over the next few months, memories started coming back of when I was in middle school and things that were really hinting to that there was something going on that I just didn't realize at the time. And then 3 months after the realization of me being gender fluid, Imposter Syndrome hit. And Imposter Syndrome can come at any time, but this is when it came for me. And it was a complete crash, and it hit hard. Sometimes I felt like I was truly a girl, sometimes I felt like I shouldn't be a girl, sometimes I felt like a normal dude, sometimes I felt like I was in the middle or agender. Sometimes I was like, what the hell is going on? And then there was also the question is, am I faking it? Because maybe I was doing it for attention. Maybe I was actually not doing this. What happens in the future if I said I was gender fluid and then I decided not to be gender fluid? It made me panic. And even though it didn't really make sense at the time, it also felt like my gender fluidity was growing in a way where it was still just keep on going. It was spiraling. Now, that's when I started buying more feminine clothing, and when I did, it made me really happy. I started buying arm warmers, chokers, a lot of candy bracelets. I started like doing all these things. I have a bunny hat, and I was like, all this makes me really, really happy. And the more I did throughout January to March, I just was feeling more girly and realized that I prefer she, her pronouns. And I noticed this because when people used he, him pronouns, it made me feel very upset. And it honestly just felt right being able to choose whether I wanted to be a girl or a boy that day. Because sometimes it just felt like it shifted and not on its own. Like, it didn't feel like I was really choosing it, but at the same time I was. And I chose multiple different names for a while, and I finally selected a name for the feminine version, which was Allison. And I've been going by that for quite a while now. And now I just say my name is Allison to new people I meet mostly, but I'm sort of closeted a little bit in real life to people that aren't outside my immediate friend group or family. From there, I sort of accepted who I was, and this is, I think, the sixth and final stage is acceptance. And I was like, I'm gender fluid. I'm definitely gender fluid. Although Imposter Syndrome still hits really hard, it makes a lot more sense because it's the only reasonable explanation for how I feel. And I think that's like how it should be, is if you really feel this way, you probably are. Now, I decided to tell that original friend group that, what's it called? That I'm still with today, like that I'm gender fluid, and I actually came out to them on my birthday in March, and they were like, "Oh, we know." And that hit like a fucking rock, because I was like, "I'm sorry." And they're like, "Yeah, we were just sort of waiting for it." And they were extremely supportive, and they were like very nice, but they also like weirdly knew in a way. And I thought that was a little bit funny. But this is just my personal, grossly oversimplified journey of self-discovery, kind of. So if you enjoyed this rant and would like to see more, subscribe. Join my Discord as well. Check out my other crap. I make other content on another channel called Phoxphor. That being said, my name's Rambiant, and thanks for letting me rant. Boop.